Welcome back to the series of the 11 most expensive mistakes that I have made. So let's dive right into this lesson that I learned. Back in 2012, my grandmother died and she left me some money as an inheritance. It was $10,000. A nice inheritance, and thank you, Nen, for leaving me that money. Now, when I got that money, my immediate thought was investing because I didn't need it. I had a very well-paying job and I pretty well much had everything that I wanted. I had a nice car, I had a good job, I had a house. So things were pretty good for me. So I didn't actually need the money. So I thought this is a good opportunity to invest in the future. Now, around this time, I started to hear a lot about Bitcoin, and that's where I thought would be a good investment. So I started to look into it. But if there's anything that you've learned about me so far on this journey, is that I used to be rather haphazard at doing things. I'd sort of do them, but not really do them. So when I started to look into Bitcoin, I started to hear words like a wallet and blockchain and exchanges, all things that were very new to me, and I'd never understood them. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? What's this wallet that I have to buy? I have to buy a wallet over here, then I have to go over here and buy it. There's a blockchain pass key thing that's this long, and then I have to secure it, and it's a cold wallet. None of it made any sense to me. And because it didn't make any sense to me from my 5 minutes of researching it, I didn't do anything with it. But I kept hearing about Bitcoin, but I started to look around at what else can I spend this money on? That was the only thing that I really thought was worthwhile investing in. And the other thing that I knew about was putting it in a fixed term deposit in the bank and locking it up for some years to get, 0.5% interest each year. I thought I could probably do better than that. So I looked around and I thought, actually, I need a new couch. This money, that'll go a long way. I can buy a new couch. So I did. I went and spent $3,000 and bought myself a lovely brand new couch. Nice. So now I'm down to $7,000. And instead of investing any of it, I thought I could do with a holiday. I've got a lot of holiday time saved up from work. I'll put in a request to go on, take a month off. So I did. I took a month's holiday, jumped on a plane, went to Vietnam for 3 weeks. Beautiful, great holiday. A few more grand later, I'm now down to less than half. Then when I get home a couple of months later, it's Melbourne Cup time. And in Australia, if you know anything, it's known as the race that stops the nation. Now, I'd never been to Melbourne or to Melbourne Cup, so I thought, let's go to the Cup. So I did. Melbourne Cup is kind of like the Super Bowl. You kind of have to plan that stuff out well in advance because accommodation fills up. It's a very big week, and I was late to the party, so I had to pay a little bit extra for accommodation and airfares and all that type of stuff. But hey, it's kind of free money. This is my inheritance money. So I spent the remainder of the money going to the Melbourne Cup. Now, don't get me wrong, I had a great time in Melbourne. I had spent this money wisely. I've got a couch. I've been to Vietnam for 3 weeks, and now I've been to Melbourne Cup. And by the way, I did back the winner at the Melbourne Cup, so that was a big night out on the town with the winnings there. But I'd wasted that $10,000 that my nan had left me. And the lesson that I learned was, and it's a lesson that I continue to learn to this day because I keep watching Bitcoin go up and up. Back in 2012, Bitcoin was worth $13.50. Now, imagine investing $10,000 when it was worth $13.50. You know how much that would be worth today? Around about $145 million. Now, by no means am I saying that I would have $145 million, because I would imagine somewhere in the years I would have dipped into that, because it has gone up significantly from $13.50, so I would have made a lot of money. So the lesson that I have learned, and it's a lesson that I learn all the time, is if you see a good opportunity, investigate, do some more research on it, work out how you can get into it, because if you don't, you miss out. So there is a part 2 to this, because there is a flip side. So that was an investment opportunity that would have paid off massively that I didn't take, and I sort of wasted that money. But I found an easier opportunity, and that was to invest in the Iraq dinar. So I invested $5,000 into this currency with all the promises of, it's about to revaluate. It's going to go back to the 1979 valuation against the US dollar when the Iraq dinar was worth $3.50 to the US dollar. And all the information that I was receiving on this was it was going to go very soon. Well, I can tell you today, it still hasn't revalued. I still own a currency that's worthless. And I've held on to that for, 12 years? With no return. So the lessons that I learned on this is, I still would have probably gone to Vietnam. I still would have bought a couch. I still would have went to Melbourne Cup. I still would have invested my money into something, but I chose the wrong way because one way was hard to work out and the other way was very easy. I had a guy that was selling the Iraq dinar. All I needed to do was give him 5,000 cash and he gave me certified money back. That was pretty well much going to turn my $5,000 into $5 million. That was the type of promises that I was made. And I was more swayed by that because, as we know, you didn't know what Bitcoin was going to do. This, I had some idea that it was going to be massive. So I chose poorly on what I wanted to invest in because I wasn't prepared to do the work. What seemed hard for 5 minutes, probably within an hour, I could have invested that money. And at any point in time, I would have turned that. I could have been sitting on a large amount of money that I actually would have had my hands on. Instead, I'm still sitting here with 2.5 million Iraqi dinar that's worth still roughly the $5,000 that I put into it 12 years ago. So that's the lesson that I've taken out of that. Like the thing that I was sold on because it was easy and I didn't really have to do anything, it was going to pay off massively versus something that if I spent a little bit of time working out, I would have made a massive amount of money. If only I had a time machine, I would go back and change that decision. I would have put the $5,000 into Bitcoin or the $10,000 into Bitcoin instead of the Iraqi dinar. Still holding out hope and crossing the fingers that Iraq gets its act together and revalues their money with all the oil and gold and other precious minerals that they have in that country. Hopefully one day that they do it and then I can sell it and it'll all work out fine. But for the moment, it's worthless. Bitcoin worth over $100,000. So that's what I threw away. $145 million. Smart. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you tomorrow with another expensive lesson that I've learned in my life.